we're very thankful that we have this modern technology which allows us to still connect with you and still be able to provide these programming for everybody to enjoy and for us to enrich our lives. The mission of Artworks Downtown is to provide an environment. Sorry, I'm fumbling here. The mission is to provide an environment where visual arts thrive for the well-being of our community. And this art walk is one of the many programs we have, which is our way of accomplishing that mission. Tonight will feature a variety of artists who are our artist members, and we even have a guest artist here tonight. They're going to present, they're going to talk a little bit about themselves, a little bit about their artwork, and a number of them are also going to talk about their Dia de los Muertos altars. This is the uniqueness I referred to. We are having a big collaborative project event happening starting today. We're collaborating with the Multicultural Center for Marin Business Improvement District, Downtown Santa Fe Arts District, and the City of Santa Fe, not to mention all of the artisans, artists, and people involved with this event. Pastor John, who will be our first presenter, will tell you a little more about that particular event. Artworks Downtown is participating by offering some altars in our window front at 1337 4th Street. Our other commercial tenants, like the Marin Jewelers Guild and Bogey's Cafe and Diva Diva, are also offering altars. So if you need to get out for a walk or you need a destination to get yourself out of your apartment or your home or wherever you're staying safe, come on down, check it out. We have some amazing altars up, and those artists will be here tonight to tell you a little bit about their altars. Now, we're about to begin the event, so I just want to ask everybody again, please keep your microphones muted. Feel free to ask questions and make comments in the chat room. And now I'm going to introduce Catherine John, who will begin the walk. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Stan and Elizabeth, Artworks Downtown, for having me this evening. I love the event, the art walk. I miss doing it in person. My name's Catherine John, and I'm a San Rafael native. I'm a working musician. I grew up learning to play the violin in the Marin Symphony Youth programs and the San Rafael City Schools, and I'm still at it. Locally I play as part of Mariachi Femenil Orgullo Mexicano, which is the first and I believe only all-female mariachi band in the Bay Area. And I also volunteer with the San Rafael Day of the Dead committee. I've done that for some years, and this year I'm the chair of the committee. It's our first year not holding an event in person either at the Alboro Center at Pickleweed as we usually do, but it's going to be online for the whole month of October. We kicked off last week. And we have events and activities daily on Facebook, our website, all our social media, Twitter, Instagram. I'm going to ask Elizabeth to please put those links in the chat so you can access them. And we have a lot to offer for everyone of all ages. Art activities, workshops, face painting tutorials. We're sharing photos, videos of different altars that people are putting up in downtown businesses, at artworks, of course, that you're going to see tonight, or in their own homes. So the event is really coming out of the physical space and into the cyberspace this year. So we ask you all to join us and see what we have going on. And to kick off tonight's art show, I'm going to share a little bit of my music. I have an instrument here called a jarana. This is a traditional Mexican instrument, traditional to the state of Veracruz, which is in the east coast seaboard of Mexico, and it's influenced by Spanish guitar, duro guitar. We have the Caribbean, you might know, cuatro, other instruments like this. And this is the jarana. And I'm going to play son jarocho, which is the traditional music of Veracruz. And the son that I'm playing tonight is called La Lloroncita, so very apt for this time of year, evocative of La Llorona, which is the famous legend of the weeping woman. But one of my favorites for this time of year. So I hope you enjoy it.
A clap for everybody. That was very beautiful. Sounded perfect. Catherine, how many instruments do you play?
Really just the violin.
Oh.
A couple of stringed instruments, including ukulele, and I'm working on a charango.
Oh, okay. Wow. What a treat. Well, thank you very much. So, would you remind us of what the URL or the website is again for everybody to log in and get involved with the events?
Yeah, thanks, Ken. It's www.dayofthedeadsr.com.
Excellent. So this is just the beginning. There'll be many more wonderful offerings like tonight at that website. So we're going to move on to the next presenter. Catherine, thank you so much. Okay, the next presenter is Karina. Take it away.
Hey guys, how's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So hi, my name is Karina Ramirez Cortez. I am a San Rafael resident. I grew up in the Central Valley of California, and I moved out here about 2005 or 6, around there. I have been an artist as long as I can remember. There was always some creative endeavor that we were doing as a family or just me on my own. I actually started pursuing art a little more when I moved here to Marin, and I actually started having art shows in San Rafael and Petaluma, in San Francisco, and yeah, so art is one of my main outlets for whatever it is I have going on in my life. I do a lot of different things as far as my style. I have a broad spectrum. I do things like sign painting. I do murals. I also do floral, which is one of my favorite things to do. I actually started one of my comic books recently that I've had a concept for a long time. I'm also working on a children's book, so I'm a little all over the place. I just did a face painting tutorial recently for Day of the Dead, and I believe it was what? Can you remind me of the name of the organization again that was for? Stan?
Go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, the Multicultural Center of Marin is the...
Okay, right, yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I've been doing face painting for about, I want to say 10 years now, and it's definitely one of the most satisfying things to do, especially little kid faces. When they see themselves in the mirror, it's like the most exciting thing. So one of the things I want to talk about today is the altar that is on display in the window at Artworks Downtown. I actually have a photo I want to share. Of it. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so this altar, I set it up on Tuesday. It's part of the Day of the Dead downtown San Rafael exhibit thing that's going on this year. And I painted on this mirror that I've actually been hoarding for a couple years now, waiting for the perfect thing. And I finally brought it out and did this painting of a Day of the Dead, which is also known as the Sure Skull painting. And the words above it say Amor Eterno, which translates to eternal love, which is what family represents to me. Along with that, I included some photos of my grandparents, which are, it's really important for me to have that family in anything to do with, Day of the Dead, because it's part of my culture. Another thing that I included was some of the elements of the food. If you look down at the bottom, I have some beans in jars, some rice, and some corn, which is a big part of Mexican food. The floral I did along with my friend Felice, who has a floral company, and she and I worked on those outside of the venue there, and yeah, that's another thing that I am very passionate about. Flowers and plants that I got from both my grandmothers. So it was really nice to set an ofrenda for them and share it with everybody as well. I think I have another photo here, a better close-up. Here. So you can see a little bit better the details of the painting. Yeah, so that's my latest work, and it felt really good to actually accomplish that and share it with everybody. Okay, so yeah, that's what's going on right now. You can go check it out. It'll be up for a month, and along with several of the other artists that are here tonight. I highly recommend it. It's a really good turnout. So now I want to talk a little bit about my paintings. I actually have a show, an ongoing show right now at a coffee shop called Muffin Mania. It's in San Rafael. You can go check out some of my paintings are hanging there. I currently have some photos for you guys to look at. Let's see. So the first photo, oh yeah, side note, I'm heavily influenced by music. Music is a big part of my family. So these three paintings I'm going to share with you are of female singers. This first one is of Lana Del Rey. I don't know if any of you are familiar with her, but she's a pretty famous artist currently. So this was all done with spray paint and markers. I did most of the background and some of the softer parts of her hair and her face in spray paint, and then I filled everything else in with permanent marker. I have another one I can share. Let's see if you guys can guess who this one is. Her name is Amy Winehouse. She's also one of my favorite singer-songwriters. This one actually recently sold, but it's still hanging there for the duration of the show. And it was done in the same process, spray paint and markers. And then the last and final is a young version of Dolly Parton, who is also one of my top 10 female singers. So yeah, this is also spray paint and markers. You can go check all of these out at Muffin Mania. Should be there through the end of the year. Hopefully you can get a chance to go check those out. Okay. Any questions for me?
That was really fascinating. Thank you for sharing all that, Karina. It's pretty impressive how many different mediums you're able to embrace. So congratulations.
Thank you.
think one person commented they loved the gold leafing on the halo. I was curious to know how you got into this spray painting and using the markers. Did you graduate, or was that a conscious choice, or was that a natural transition? Combination.
Yeah, well, so I used to work at Riley Street Art Supply. I worked there for about 3 years. I don't know if any of you remember me, but I pretty much played around with everything in that store. So it was a lot of fun picking up spray paint. And it's really nice when you can, we have a big canvas to work with. It's hard to learn the different tip sizes and stuff like that. But if you have like a mural or something, it's probably the best thing you want to use for anything large.
Well, thank you so much for putting your altar up. I see a lot of people. I see it stopping people in their tracks and getting them to engage with the window front and with your altar. So thank you for the presentation and sharing all that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. Okay, we're going to keep on walking to the next presenter, Miss Minna. Minna, you're up.
Okay, hi, thank you. I'm trying very hard to get this right. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Minna Pinger, and I'm going to talk tonight about an altar that I made for my mom that is at Artworks Downtown, 1337 4th Street. If you get a chance, go on by because it's fantastic. The show, it's really beautiful to see how different altars are made. And usually I have an image here. This is the kind of work I usually do. It's assemblage. This is an enlargement of pages from my journal. And it's a good segue actually into the altar because these pages describe the first birthday I had without my mother, and the altar is for my mother. So I'm going to now go to, hopefully, yes, okay. So this is a video of the altar that I made. Now, Dia de los Muertos, for those who don't know, is the altars that you make for the people that you love are like invitations for them to come back and see the impact that they had on you. And I think that's so beautiful. And there are 4 components to traditional altars: wind, fire, earth, and water. And I tried to use that as a framework with this one, but I didn't use the traditional things. Traditionally, the cut paper banners that you see festooning traditional altars are the way that represents the wind, and they move as the spirits come to the altar to celebrate. The earth is represented by the food, the favorite food of the person you're honoring, and we couldn't use real food, so I have a piece from my mother was a painter, and she made pop art in New York in the 1970s, and I have a piece of chocolate cake from one of the paintings she made, which is on the altar. It's made of wood and paint and sand, so you'll see that. And the water component is traditionally a vase of water, a jug of water, or whatever drink the thirsty spirit might want, like a bottle of beer, shot of tequila, bottle of Coca-Cola, whatever. That's usually there with the food. And in my altar, the water is in the images. Water was very important to my mom. She lived in cities that were on the water. She lived in several cities: in Budapest, Hungary, which is on the Danube; in Galway, Ireland, which is on Galway Bay; and in New York City, which is on the Hudson and the East River; and on Long Island, which is on the Atlantic. So all of those are represented here. And as we go into the altar, you'll see I've made a film. It's not great. I shot it on my iPhone, and I'm not real good at that, so bear with me. But so fire is usually represented by the candles. I think I covered all the bases. And as we move into the altar, the first image we'll see is a statue of my mother. It was commissioned by my father, and it's called Irene Waving at the Surfers. It's over 20 feet tall. It was made by an artist named Bill King. It's still there in Long Island. It's in East Hampton on Georgia Beach behind the first jetty. You can still see it. The photograph is taken by a photographer named Susan Wood. In front of that is a bell that is used to call the spirits to the altar. There you can also see the chocolate cake. And I used mica to represent a pool of water, a reflecting pool that's under the chocolate cake. You can sort of see it under the stone. Behind that is a drawing of my mother done by an artist named Bokov, who was practiced in New York in the 1980s. And he drew it on a New York City coffee cup and put a secret picture of my mother and my daughter's hands inside. Which is pretty great. Behind that is another iteration of my mother. It's a photograph of my grandmother and myself. And then in front of that is a statue of the big mama of us all. My grandmother gave me that statue when I was about 6, and she's wearing a necklace that I made for my mother that is the name of the altar, Wow Mom. Wow and mom are the same word, which I think is an epiphany. And I made that for my mother on Mother's Day. The owl represents my father because he looks like an owl. The angel is an angel. You could all use more of those. Over here is a feather that represents the time my mother spent with the Navajo. I made the feather and sewed the beads onto it. In the Native American tradition, you earn your feathers for acts of courage. And my mother was a very courageous woman. Below that is a pendant that was given to her by one of her friends on the reservation, and it's an eagle, which I have clumsily pushed out of sight there, but anyway. As we move down is a card from a hotel in Budapest where you can see the water. It's a hotel that has historic baths in it. And below that is a drawer of these animated flip books that my mom was obsessed with, and she kept stashed all over the place so that you could have something to play with if you needed it. And as we come to a close here, up in the corner, which you can't really see, is a card from a show that we saw together in Galway by an Irish artist, and it was all about water, the power of water in our lives. And thank you all for watching that, and that is the altar for my mom. That's it.
Bravo.
Thank you.
As you exit the share screen, I have
Oh, I'm sorry.
a comment and a question. My comment is that it's so nice to hear the explanation of the altars, because when I first look at them, it's an interesting composition of all these different items, but then to hear you explain in the depth of all of the symbology and of every item really opens up a whole other world of possibilities.
And I actually think Patty in her on her altar, I think, explains all of those symbols, and the butterfly and the marigold, and they're very moving. They're really and they get you in the right headset about the circle of life and, you know, how things don't really begin and end as clearly as you think they do.
Indeed. It's interesting because the Artworks Downtown specializes mostly in visual arts, and the Dia de los Muertos is a very visual medium. So it's interesting to see how objects communicate and activate our lives, and just like the visual arts does, and basically the same way. So that's great. My quick question for you is, somebody was wondering, what's the difference between assemblage and collage? Do you have
I think there is. I think my understanding of the difference is that it's assemblage can also be more sculptural. Collage tends to be flatter. But my sense of assemblage is that it can be like a book, a three-dimensional book, whereas that's why I use the word assemblage.
Okay.
But they're kind of the same thing.
That's great. Thank you for answering that. Most of all, thank you for participating, sharing your altar,
Really my privilege.
and being part of the art walk. So thanks a lot, Nina.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next presenter will be an artist who is doing something different than most of our presenters. Kristen. Kristen is with the Brand Jewelers Guild and is going to share her fabulous wares with you right now.
Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. Your Friday night and everything. So my name's Kristen Sin. My nickname is Bucko. That's a lot of people know me as Bucko. I've been making jewelry since the 90s, and I love it. I don't know if you guys have been to our store on 4th Street, right next to the gallery. It's called Brand Jewelers Guild. I'm a founding member, and we've been in business for 20 years. A bunch of artists from, jewelry artists from the College of Marin got together and opened a little gallery, and it's been a lot of fun all this time, and it's just a great place to show the stuff and to meet other artists and people who are interested in jewelry. And let's see. So my stuff is, almost all hand fabricated, sterling silver, some copper. I do a lot of enameling. So I made a little video, and I thought you guys might want to check it out. So hopefully this will work for me. Okay, let's see here. Share screen. And let's see if hopefully it'll work. Boom. And let's see. Full screen. Hey Patty, will you help me please? Spacebar. Boom. Whoop. And it gets super duper duper hot and it melts. And that's that. And it doesn't come, So it's ground up glass basically, and then you're remelting it onto a surface, and it just fuses with the copper. You can also do it on silver, not sterling silver, 100% silver. Hi, now I'm going to show you how I actually enamel. Here's my little copper blank. I've already enameled one side, kind of a minty blue, open aqua. It's clean, super clean. This is my enamel color. There's many colors. I open up, it's powder, see? It's powdered glass. Scoop it up with a sifter,
That's so, just in case there's some sort of lumps or whatever, it's nice and fine on there. You don't want it like inconsistent consistency. I don't know if you'd say that. So here it is. Now to be super careful, use tweezers. Pick it up and put it on this little tray or trivet or whatever you want to call it. Okay, how about we just do one? Usually I'd fill up the trivet. You don't make one cookie at a time, but for you guys, I'll just do one. So I use this little spatula. It's gonna go right in the hot kiln. Alright? For 2 minutes. And when it comes out, it'll be hard, enamel, permanent on the surface. Ta-da! Stuff. Just remember the little blue flower. You know what? We don't need to do that. Let's just go straight to the... Just don't touch it. Hot stuff, hot stuff. So I thought you guys might want to see a lot, not every color I have, but my favorite colors. Some are more reliable than others, different combinations of colors. I layer them. I use stencils to get a different effect. When I finish, you'll be able to see what that looks like. And, you know, you sit and it's kind of fun to just come up with different combinations. That's the fun part. It's like a coloring book or something. If you want to get any of my jewelry, you can go to buckupsin.com, you can go to marinjewelersguild.com, or visit our wonderful store on 4th Street between C and D in San Rafael. Bye!
To all the good friends I'm gonna try. Thank you all times.
Kristen. Alright, there you go.
That was wonderful. How fascinating. It looks like you have quite a positive, fun, rock and roll art practice going on.
Well, I had a lot of help from my husband. He's like, you know, good at that kind of stuff, making videos and computer stuff, you know. So.
Oh, I was referring to the actual art.
Oh, well, thank you.
All these colors and everything.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing. What a different medium. It's always such a joy to see the jewelers share what they do. So we have a couple questions from the audience. One is, what attracted you to enameling? I know a lot of jewelers do other things like stone setting or engraving. Is there any particular reason you like to focus on enameling?
I know I've said it over and over, but it's color, color, color. I love color. I've always been attracted to it. I mean, you should see my house, my bedroom. It's just like a Fillmore poster or something, you know what I mean? So I just love it. I wish everything, all clothes, all houses, everything was painted psychedelic, the entire world, you know? So that's an easy, good way of, you know, getting a lot of color in your jewelry. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Let's see. Do you coat the metal so the powdered glass sticks to it?
That's a good question. So the metal is completely clean. So it's like copper. That's what I use. The enamel fuses with it, and then you don't have to mess with it anymore. If it's a good fuse, then it's done. It's a done deal. Now, if it's a piece of flat copper, you have to do both sides. There's what they call some sort of surface tension. So if you just do one side, if you don't do the other side, this side will pop off, like crack off. So you gotta do both sides. Now, for some reason, if it's bent or curved or shaped, you don't have to do both sides. I'm no scientist, and I'm kind of fly by the seat of your pants. So as far as the scientific reason for that, I don't know. But yeah, you don't have to coat it with anything. It's just does its own thing. So yep.
Fabulous. Thank you for answering those questions,
You're welcome.
for sharing your awesome stuff with us. There's one more question in the chat room. Maybe you can check that out. But we're going to move
Okay.
on to the next presenter. So, cheers.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay. Our next presenter is Isidoro.
My name is Isidoro Angeles. I have been an artist for pretty much all my life. My main medium is pretty much sculptures, but at this time I was invited to participate in the Day of the Dead altar, and I create this piece. Probably, man, you don't see it that well. The idea was used to do like a butterfly, and who is the paper that pretty much you do the design through horse, and it's called papel picado. And that was my idea, and the design is displayed in Artworks Downtown in one of the windows, and the piece is 7 foot tall by 5 feet wide. Thank you. And it's like I really enjoyed that piece because it's like it was really hard to make it. I was painting the piece on the floor on my knees for a couple of hours, and then my body feel like it was beating. It's like, but it was a great experience. The piece is done really nice, and the decoration that I created in the piece was to try to put all the orange lights around representing the marigold. Because it's like we cannot put food, we cannot put flowers, I had to improvise. Then it's like the papel picado was one of the elements that are very attached to the culture of the Day of the Dead. The marigold flowers. Then in the barrel I put like some blue plates representing the water, and also I put the candles, and I put some skulls. Pretty much it's like the 4 elements that she was mentioned. It's like for us, like Karina said, it's very important for the relation between our family members. And it's a way that we can honor them and enjoy the time with during the Day of the Dead, with the food and the drinks and all the specialties that they like it to remember them. For me, it was very important because it's a really good way to show your culture through art, and especially here in San Rafael and Marini, like the organization that do public art, is like they always are very focused and create events related to the Day of the Dead. And a couple years ago, we were able to paint like 5 big canvas for the multicultural center Marine, and that was my introduction to the art organizations. And since then, everything is been evolving. I feel really, really honored to be part of this group. Yeah. Okay. It's like that related to the Day of the Dead, related to my work is like pretty much since 2005 I started taking art classes. I started doing pretty much like drawings, then paintings, and at the same time, one of the teachers, Emily Lazar, she invited me to try to do sculptures, and I went and I tried 20 minutes figure, and I feel that I was able to translate the image that was in front of me. And then next semester I signed it, and it's been pretty much almost 15 years of just trying and practicing, schooling the skills. And I can show you hopefully one of my pieces. let me try to see the share screen. Give me the chance to. This is in the studio at the College of Marine. Is so far one of my biggest pieces. I call this the seashell, la caracola, and everything is related to the ornaments of the piece that was given to the piece.
Isidoro, sorry to interrupt, but we only see your finder right now.
Okay.
We want to see the art. Please. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's like La Caracola for me is a very important piece because it's like pretty much represent my skills. It's like I try to create pieces that is almost in the classical Greek style, where the pieces when they were found they were broken, and then it's like the way that I want to do my sculptures is almost related to that same broken part, but it's like I want that my pieces be seen as a thinking, not as an accident. That's why it's like the parts of the caracola at the ends where I made the cats is more ornamental. Let me see, I can show you another of my pieces. I've been doing sculpture pretty much 15 years, and then it's like I have the chance to show a couple of the pieces in artworks downtown, and hopefully I can find other places where I can display my artwork. Can you see the piece?
Yes, we can.
Okay. This piece is I call mother pearl, and it's referred pretty much. This piece is a lot of my pieces, my sculpture pieces. A lot of the pieces are being only fire used once, and this piece is fire twice. And I try to put like almost a pearl finished touch this piece. And like I say, the way that I cut my pieces is pretty much all related to beauty and composition and the way that I want to display the pieces. Let me see, I can show you another. This piece is called Mavericks Wipeout, and I made this piece in honor of the surfers. And this piece is pretty much all the design in the hair, the design in the body, the design in the chest is representing, and even the painting inside of the piece is representing all the ocean and the waves. And this guy represent the surfers. And I made this piece just honoring all the surfers in Mavericks here in California. Because it's like I have the feeling that if you're in a place, it's good to create pieces that they are related to the area where you live. Pieces that can be meaning for, in this case, for the surfers. And all the context around the activities of the surfers. I mean, they are very intrepid, they risk their life, and just for me, it's important to represent that in one of my pieces. In this piece, it's like say, I try to without like the composition of the pieces are one of the most important part of my piece, and the way that I create my art. If you see this piece, the lines is this way, and then the lines of the body is also in that way, the cuts are in that way. And then it's like composition is very important in my pieces. It's like pretty much is all that I can say about my art and my pieces. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, we do. We have a few. As you exit the screen share, I'll ask them.
Okay.
First of all, thanks for sharing. Let's see, I have one question here. You have a nice sense of the human figure. Do you use models, like a figurative model? Or?
Yeah, pretty much like, yeah.
And do you sculpt directly from the model, or do you make studies first?
Pretty much like the way that mostly I learned my skill, it was like we have the model in front of us, and then just try to replicate whatever you see in the model into the piece. And then after that I have the piece, then I do the composition of the piece. I decide where I want to get the cuts, how I want to present the piece. Yeah, but from live models, 99% of the time.
Okay, and that's great. And what, I know you also paint, but you seem to be attracted to sculpture the most. Is there any reason for that?
I think it's because the sculpture is more like a big volume, and then it give you more reference all around. And I think it's like my skill as an sculptor, there are stronger. The possibilities to create something very beautiful is more in the sculptures than in the paintings. And also it's like to be a painter, you have to be extremely good, and the competition is very, very hard. There are so many good painters, but then sculpture, even if for me it's more complicated, I have a very easy way to create. It's for me it's very natural, and then I think I have something there in the sculpture, something more powerful than in the painting.
Well, I think you do too, and we appreciate you taking the time to show us that skill and that special thing, and for participating in the altars, and for being our Each Foundation Studio artists.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure for me. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to our last presenter, Patty Oji. Would you please share?
Hello, Stan.
Hello.
Well, let's see, I might need it. I have to say, I'm always inspired by the artists who are here at Art Walk, and I want to thank them. And they also gave great explanations about Dia de los Muertos, so I really don't need to talk, but let me screen share and go to... There we go. So I am one of the artists who display in the windows, and as the previous artists have described, you know a lot more about Dia de los Muertos, and that's the approach I took for my window. It uses some of the main elements, and I have an explanation there, but I also took a little more of a whimsical approach to this. I started out with, there's a big tall wall in the window, and so I started out by creating a scroll that would introduce it, and with black butcher paper and oil pastel crayons. Then, because it's going to be up for a whole month, we couldn't use actual pun or bread. So I took air dry clay and made what I thought looks like it, and painted it to use in the display. And this is a miniature of it. You can see there's a description of each of the elements involved. I created the sugar skull out of a styrofoam skull, And of course, those are not real marigolds. I love the display with the real marigolds. But just to capture the spirit of the occasion and respect for the history of how you honor your the people who came before you, the loved ones who came before you. This is my studio mate. We share a studio here at Artworks downtown, and she came and helped me install the show. And there's the papel picado and all of the different elements. But it's amazing to see the different interpretations, and I hope everyone gets to visit all the different windows. So my art is mostly painting. Anybody who visits me knows me as an oil painter. But I have to say, back in March when we started COVID shelter in place, I was, I would listen to the news in the morning as I'm spinning on my bike, and I started getting really upset. And I couldn't figure it out until watching the news. They talk about all of these different things. It's very biased, one side or the other side. It's very confrontational. But at the bottom, they would have this little, like a ticker tape of numbers of people who got sick, people who died. And what I was getting upset about is it's become so impersonal. We are actually now represented only as a number. And I got this vision in my brain. This was back in March. So I thought, okay, it's so strong, I've got to do something about it. So I went to my 24 families and friends, and I said, hey, can you help me out? Can you loan me your faces? Of course, we don't do personal, so I had to send them the plaster of Paris tape. And what they each did is they created a mask that starts, of course, from the top of the bridge of your nose to the chin to mimic the masks that we wear when we're out and about in public. And then I manipulated each mask, and that was because I wanted to enhance the anonymity of it, so they couldn't go, oh, that's my face, or that's so-and-so's face. But I still wanted to keep them looking human. So these are all of them drying, and I laid them out because I could walk by them and get a sense of what they're trying to tell me. I know it sounds woo-woo, but they really talk. If you're an artist, I think you would understand that. I used a base layer of black gesso. And then, while that was drying, I prepared the canvas. So this is on a regular standard canvas that's about 36 inches tall and 48 inches wide. And I stitched on all of the different faces onto this canvas, and then I painted them to blend into the background, because we've become anonymous in all of this. We are just a number. And what I did is, you'll notice in the upper corner, and this is, I started out by painting, it's supposed to be 50 stars, and I started out by painting them in white, and of course when you lose count, you have to do it over again, over and over count. But the 50 stars then represented our states, and how through lack of leadership, whether it's at the federal level, the state level, there's a lack of leadership, there's a lack of cohesiveness. We're so spread out. We as a whole community, a whole nation of people, are so, we don't know who to trust, what to go. There's no uniformity. And so I spread them out. We started out organized, and it just went through, and they became the COVID virus. And I used glass beads, because when you look at viruses and pictures of it, they're not just like clear jello with a few odds and ends. They've got texture of their own. So I glued on all of these glass beads to mimic the virus. And that's a close-up of it. As you can tell, it just gets in my blood. And I named the piece Nameless Faces of the Pandemic USA. And it took that many months for it to really come together, because I would put that out there and I would walk by it and I would sit, and they would talk to me. They would say, how about this? How about that? And once I couldn't paint, I couldn't do anything else. I just realized as an artist, I was so fixated on producing this piece. Once this was done, I could go back and paint. So, let's see, let me get out of stop screen share, and if you go, let me move my chair, and you will be able to see, can you see that, Stan? Are you able to see?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so that is the full-size piece. Oops. That is the full-size piece of my creation that is currently sitting in my living room. And some mouths are open because they are gasping for air. They're gasping for a voice. And some mouths are sealed shut for obvious reasons. I used black instead of white on the background of the flag because we've been criticized for doing things that would disrespect the flag. But I feel through our actions and the way we've conducted ourselves as a people nationwide, we've actually diminished the flag. It's no longer what our forefathers believed in to be the bright red, white, and blue. So this is my representation of all of that. And that's it. that's thank you for listening. By the way, I feel like I was on a personal rant. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Patty. That was quite an experience to go through that experience with you. And I know you mostly as a painter of fine oil paintings, and that you have a very, for lack of a better term, strict, maybe a focused practice on oil painting. And to see this new piece, I think, speaks to the severity of the inspiration that caused you to make it. So I encourage everybody to look up Patty's paintings so they can see what I'm referring to on her website. Patty, can you speak a little bit to what do you think breaking out of your focus practice of oil painting into this assemblage mixed media work has done for you in your general art practice, and do you think you will return to that, or are you excited to get back to your focus?
Well, actually, I have started painting, and that's the unusual thing. And I don't know about the other artists, how they've experienced when you get inspired about something, the brain just focused on that. And once I got that out of my system, it's like, okay, I can move forward. You know, and I'd love it if these other artists would share story. But it's all about moving on. You get your story out there, and then it's like, okay, on to the next. I did, like other artists that have spoken, I've worked in other mediums. I'm inspired. Juan Orta was a great mask maker in the Michoacan area. And I visited his studio, and his work is just beautiful. And then you go to Oaxaca, and all of the beaded pieces. So I started making masks on my own using that. And that's why it was so easy to transition to this. And then, of course, the painting. So that's how it transpired. And paint wasn't enough to express the feelings, the visceral feelings that came out of me. So that's why I put this all together. And over time, it just came together as I was able to live with it.
Wow, thank you for answering that question. I'm glad I asked it. Well, okay. Patty, please check the chat room. There's some nice comments in there. And we're going to start to wrap up the event. So, Patty, thank you so much for sharing everything, for participating, for being a studio artist at Artworks downtown. It's so fascinating to learn and hear about how these chemicals and these mediums that artists use are really just an extension of their concept, of their spirit, of their momentum. And so we're so lucky to be able to gain some insight to that. So presenters, we are really appreciative of everything that you gave to us tonight and that you continue to give to us. All attendees, we are extremely appreciative that you can be here and to gain the inspiration that we've gained. I just have a couple little more things to tell you before we wrap up. One is, in addition to the altars, we're also collaborating by selling some Dia de los Muertos masks on our gallery store. Easiest way to access that is to go to our website and then under exhibitions, go to gallery store. I'll model one for you. This is the embroidered one. Pretty sweet, huh? So go to artworksdowntown.org if you would like those. There's a couple different options. And Artworks Downtown is a nonprofit organization. So if you've been inspired tonight, we hope that you're inspired to maybe make a donation to us. The logo, the URL is down in the chat room and of course on our website and all of that. We look forward to seeing you again next month. I think it's November 13th for the monthly art walk. We're at this time, Artworks Downtown is still closed to the public, though we know things are loosening up a little bit, so we're looking into hopefully changing that in the near future. Our priority is safety for everybody in our big community of many different types of people. So again, thank you so much for attending. I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, and stay creative. As you exit, you're welcome to unmute and say any comments or say any woo-hoos. And have a great weekend.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Woohoo!
Thank you, everyone. Yeah,
Thank you.
really inspiring.